Everyone here constantly thinks about how to reach their level of success. They think about what is it that they can do to actually reach the next level. And more often than not, a lot of people actually do the right things. You possibly might be doing the right things. You might be taking all the right steps necessary, preparing, having your to-do lists, working on your time management, working on all of these things, but yet there's still a barrier that's not allowing you to break through. What if I were to tell you it is the quality of your thoughts that is impacting this? What if I were to tell you that mindset is really what you need to work on to see the growth that you wish to see? You know, nowadays people are actually focusing on their well-being a lot more. And I think they're becoming more focused in terms of their health, how they want to move forward. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's good though, right? That they are conscious about their health and their well-being. I think there is a movement, especially from the younger generations, that would want to live, life in a good way in terms of their health and their well-being. That's why. What do you think?
I mean, I see a lot of it, the
Yeah.
trending, so on social media, you see it a lot, eat healthier, clean food, exercise.
Exercise.
And I think that's great, but I'm wondering if they're missing an element, which is, the concept of the quality of your thoughts.
Oh yeah, definitely. See, thoughts makes everything. I mean, you become what you think of, right?
Ah, yes, you
Yeah.
think and you become.
Yes. Yes.
So,
So when you're thinking of, for example, staying healthy,
mm,
um, but you're maybe eating healthy,
yeah,
but you're thinking unhealthy. Does that work?
yeah, it
And
happens.
yeah, and it will not have the same effect, does it?
No, no, it
Yeah,
won't.
yeah.
I think this is where mindset will come into play. So, in terms of quality of thought, when we are thinking quality thoughts, we live a quality life. Right?
True.
So,
True.
when we have positive thoughts, when we have negative thoughts, they impact how we feel and how we behave.
Absolutely.
But then, how do you address that? How do you gain awareness there?
I think, I read somewhere that we think 70,000 thoughts a day, and most of which are repeated from yesterday and the day before, and maybe most of them are negative. So I believe like we need to be aware of what's going on in our mind, and sometimes, our thoughts makes us feel good, and sometimes our thoughts makes us feel terrible.
Yeah.
Why is that? I mean, how does that happen?
I mean, a lot of the things that we're seeing, especially now with psychology, with everything that comes up, the researchers,
Right.
they talk about how we kind of split ourselves into two, where there are moments where we feel positive and empowered, therefore our quality of thoughts become positive and empowered. But then they go into something negative when we start doubting ourselves, when we feel fear.
Right.
There's the concept where you're fearing failure,
Right.
or even the fear of success. The concept of what if I'm not good enough? That constant doubt. I think a lot of us hear this in our minds.
Oh
every moment
yeah, very true. I'm not good enough, and nobody is good enough. I mean, you have to try it. You have to
Yeah.
do it and see. And if you don't know enough, you will know enough once you get into it, right? I mean, anything, I believe, and is that a mindset that I believe that people can do anything they want if they believe in it.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely a huge part of mindset, right?
Right.
When you are able to believe that
Mm.
it doesn't have to be perfect,
Right.
as long as you try, as long as you push forward, regardless of the results, whether it's positive or negative, if I can push myself forward and continue to try, that's a good, healthy mindset to have, right?
Yes. Mindset. It is really critical for all of us to understand our mindset. Our mindset is what we think about. And what we think about is really what makes us and makes us our future. So think about your thoughts. Identify your thoughts. Observe your thoughts. Be aware of your thoughts, because your thoughts make you or they can break you. So they say up to 70,000 thoughts we have per day. And that's a lot of thinking. So we are not really aware. We are not conscious of what's going on around us because we are overthinking. And most of the overthinking, it's always in a negative way. We are afraid, we are scared, we are thinking of the future too much. It doesn't have to be that way. We can, because life is all about two things, negative and positive, good and bad. We choose how we want to be seen. Have you ever asked yourself why I'm not getting or going to the places that I want to reach? In my job, at home, in the community, it's all how you think. You are thinking in a negative way. You are thinking that I cannot be that or I cannot achieve that. Then already you have put the limit in your mind. It's like, you know, the little elephant. When he was a little elephant, they chain him in a wooden piece, and he tried to nudge it and he tried to leave, but he couldn't. And then when he grows up, they chain him, he wouldn't even try because he has a limiting belief that we can't. And if we think if we can't and we think we can, in both ways we are right. So better to think we can rather than we can't. Because really, the way the Creator, Allah, God, created us in such a way, in a perfect way, that we can do anything, provided that we believe that we can do it. And that is really comes to the element of the placebo, or how to see life. You see it in a positive way, you get a positive outcome. You look at it in a negative way, you will get a negative outcome.
So
Because otherwise we will not take the first step, right?
precisely,
Yeah.
that first step.
Yeah.
So speaking of that first step, what usually keeps us from moving forward?
It's the fear
The fear.
of failure or the
Fear.
unknown.
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
What will happen? Am I going to make a fool of myself? Yeah.
which brings us to the next part, right? Where people tend to fear what other people think of them.
Absolutely. So we're not living our life, we're living people's life.
For people. Exactly. And this is where you'll find it in a lot of people, including clients, when you work with them and everything. You'll see the common theme, but I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want them to think of me negatively. So I will not put myself in that position. but that means I will not try,
Right.
right?
Right. And if you don't try, you stay stagnated in the same place.
Yeah.
You don't develop, you don't, for example, grow.
No.
Grow.
Absolutely. How can you grow if you stay in one place, right?
No,
And I think
no.
this goes back to the comfort zone.
Right.
So a lot of us, we have a threshold, we have a
Right.
comfort zone that we like to stick to. And
And isn't that normal? I mean, it should be like we should be comfortable, no? Or do we aspire to stay comfortable?
but this is my question to
Yes,
you then.
yes.
When you are comfortable,
Right.
are you growing?
No.
Ah.
Yeah.
So then that
I have to stretch.
There we go. So
Grow, yeah.
you know, there's a terminology we call growing pains.
Yes, yes,
Growing
of course.
pains.
Yes.
So it's an
When you exercise, when
There
your
we go.
muscles are painful, that means they are growing.
Exactly.
They're stretching, they're growing.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So when you go to the gym, your muscles will tear and then they need to rebuild. That process is
So
excruciating.
that means every time I have some challenges, I have to jump into it.
There we go.
And what happens to the fear?
So it stays there.
Yeah.
So this is the common misconception, is that when we think of mindset, right,
Yeah.
we think positive thoughts.
Right.
People think of toxic positivity,
Mm.
where they think, oh, I need to always think positively. I can't accept negative thoughts. I cannot say, for example, that, well, this is not good. I cannot do this. So no, I need to always tell myself, I'm great. I can keep going. But this goes into toxicity now.
And when somebody asks you, for example, how are you? You say, perfect.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm perfect.
exactly.
And that's good. I mean, I think, when we are saying about ourselves that, how do you feel? Somebody asks you, how do you feel? I feel perfect, rather than, okay, it's good.
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
simply
or
surviving.
yeah, surviving. Yeah.
Surviving.
Yeah, and that affects the behavior as well, or the emotion, as you said, because our emotion influences our behavior, correct?
Absolutely.
So that would be more of the thoughts, the quality of the thoughts, and there is a concept of the mind growth, fixed mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
So growth and
Yeah,
fixed mindset.
right.
So when we're thinking positive and negative, this is where I like to change it up. Instead of calling it positive and
Right.
negative, think in terms of what's a fixed mindset,
Yeah.
what's a growth mindset. So in terms of a fixed mindset, you are solid in terms of negativity, right? So you're fixed. Fixed
Yes.
meaning you have put yourself in a box, you refuse to get out of it.
Right.
So what do we mean by that? Simple. When you're afraid, I can't do it. You're stuck there. Failure means I am not good enough.
Yeah.
Making mistakes means I am not good enough.
Right.
When someone gives me feedback, it just means I'm a terrible person. I'm not talented. I am not capable. And so they continue pushing themselves in that box, and it doesn't help them at all. But now growth mindset, it doesn't mean you're not uncomfortable. It doesn't mean that you don't have these thoughts.
Right.
How do you push past them? So if I were to say, I feel like I'm not good enough, and I want to switch it to someone who talks about it in terms of a growth mindset, what can I say instead?
You would say, for example, I am good enough and I can be good enough, or maybe I'm not good enough now, but later I will be good enough.
There we go, exactly.
Okay.
So this would be the growth mindset where, okay, I'm not good enough right now. I'm not at the level I want to be right now.
Right.
But I'm going to learn and I will reach there. So this is the growth mindset that we want to see.
Because the brain changes when we learn, the word, I think it was coined by Carol Dweck.
I believe so, yes.
It's the fixed mindset would always think that, oh, this is me. I cannot grow. I cannot learn.
As a coach, what our primary focus usually is to get clients their results. We want people to be able to achieve. We want them to be able to reach their goals. We want them to be able to feel empowered, navigating through life with a better quality of life and a better quality of thought. So now the problem is, when we think about how we're supposed to help achieve this, people struggle with the concept, okay, is it because of my time management? Is it because of how I manage stress? Is it because I am stressed? But the thing is, you might be doing all the right things. You might be doing things accordingly to what you're supposed to, but something is stopping you. And a lot of the times what is stopping you is the fact that your quality of thoughts are holding you back. Your negative thoughts are holding you back. This is the type of thinking that is pushing you in the fixed mindset. It is not allowing you to move out of your comfort zones. It is not allowing you to proceed in life. It is not even allowing you to overcome your challenges. So it's keeping you stuck exactly where you are, no matter how much you work hard at it. So what you really need to think about is the quality of your thoughts in terms of fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Think of it in terms like this. If I'm going to describe a fixed mindset, I am talking about putting yourself in a box that is super limited, with zero sustenance, with zero ability to move forward and develop. So we obviously don't want to be in this box, right? We don't want to feel that we are so limited and incapable of growth that we are stuck exactly where we are. So now cue ourselves towards our growth mindset. And now when I talk about growth mindset, this doesn't mean toxic positivity. This does not mean I keep telling myself, I'm great, I'm going to keep going, I'm doing fine, and think positive all the time. It is recognizing your challenges and saying, yes, I'm not great right now, but I am going to get better at it. I can learn. So when we want to actually achieve this, we need to question our thoughts. We need to question the quality of our thoughts. The minute you have a negative thought, where did it come from? Have that curiosity. Go deeper. Why are you thinking this way? What drove you there? What drove you there? What made you think that you cannot overcome this challenge? Was it something somebody said once upon a time in your life? Was it a comment that you received a lot through childhood? What is it that makes you stuck in your fixed mindset? So this is where you need to completely try to figure out, how can you overcome this? Get curious. Where did it come from? This is the first step. Second step, figure out in terms of, what are you going to do when these thoughts come to you? What's your next possible action that you can take? Is it to think more positive only? No, it's take the action anyway. If you're scared about a presentation you're about to do it anyway. If you're scared that you might fail anyway, because the point is, how are you going to achieve your goals despite the failure and the setbacks, and keep pushing forward? Because eventually, whether it's the 5th trial or the 10th, you're going to reach it. And that is exactly what we want.
And my dad told me that I am not good.
There we go.
Or my dad told me that I cannot be, or my mom, or my sister, or my friend, or whatever. So you feel that you are fixed in that area. You're not enough, or you're not enough for that only.
Yeah.
A growth mindset, no, you can learn, you can grow, you can. Wow, a growth mind. Everybody should be on growth mindset. Why are we not on growth mindset, my friend?
Because we're stuck in our fixed mindset. And you just brought up an important point. What people say can impact our mindset as well. So if it were, especially if it's someone that's close to you, like a parent, a relative, someone whose opinion you hold dear, your teachers,
yes, of
your
course,
colleagues, your boss, if they tell you something negative, and you take it personally rather than try to see the value in it, it can shove you back into the fixed mindset part.
So in fixed mindset, for me, it seems like if I have some sort of limiting beliefs, like for example, if somebody tells you when you are a little child, don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
And then when you grow up, you don't talk to strangers. And here we go. You are in the university, or you are in college, or you are in work. Everybody is stranger you start with.
Yeah.
But then your mindset, it says, you know, since childhood, don't talk to stranger.
Right.
So that will make you feel like, you know, you won't be able to.
To continue, I would say you would think challenging thoughts because you were raised in a certain way. But the purpose of growth mindset is your mindset should be growing with you. So perhaps being able to reflect, okay, as a child, I was told not to speak to strangers for safety reasons.
Right.
But now as I grow older,
I don't need that safety.
I don't need that safety contingency. I need to now know better who I speak to when I speak to them and how I address them. What time of day? Am I alone in a corner, or am I in a public setting? So now you start
environment
thinking, exactly.
that you are in.
But this is the same that can be said in terms of your quality of thoughts. Take a look around you in terms of your surroundings, your environment. What are you nurturing yourself with? A lot of times we find people say, if you're a happy person, it's easy to develop a growth mindset. That's not true.
Well, I think, you know, if you're happy, I mean, that's a very critical thing. Now, how do you become happy? Or is it by the thoughts that you change your thoughts? And or I don't know. I want to know if it's the thoughts that comes first, or me deciding to be happy.
There we go. So this is the thing. It's a double-edged sword. You kind of have to set the intention, right? We wake up and we say, okay, today I would like to overcome whatever it is with a positive attitude, regardless, right?
So I choose my attitude.
Absolutely, we choose our attitude. Like for example, we're enjoying this atmosphere right now, right? And we're continuing and we're going with it.
Why not?
This is the growth mindset that we have. So this is a positive outlook.
Instead of looking at the nitty gritties or the negatives and stuff, you look at a bigger picture. You look at a more, you know, and there is always that, you know, a brighter picture.
Absolutely.
But we tend to, the closed mindset tends to, you know, go,
We focus more on the fixed because it's easier. I think as human beings, it's easier for us to accept negative feedback about ourselves rather than a positive one.
Oh.
The point being, we were raised, especially I think in our generation, we were raised in a way where you need to be humble.
Right.
You cannot be egotistical.
Right.
You cannot think too highly of yourself.
Right.
So when you start thinking positive, you're thinking, oh, I'm being egotistical. But it's not the same thing.
Right. Right.
But now we need to know, okay, how much am I supposed to be critical and how much am I supposed to be forgiving of myself?
Yes. So basically, life in general, life is good and bad, right?
Yes.
And some people with that mindset that they focus on only the bad. For example, we look at, for example, the streets that are, you know, that are not properly maintained, for example.
Exactly.
But some people, they look at the streets that are built new or maintained very well.
Exactly.
And they see both, but they focus on the nice ones.
Yes.
So they kind of make that smaller and insignificant, so they become happy.
Yeah.
Because they are focusing on the good things, on the happy things, on the nice things, on the nice weather, on you know. you know, like for example, summertime, people are complaining about the heat.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Why, you know, summer is a hot weather. We know
It's
that.
hot. It's
Yeah, we
hot.
know. And
But
every summer it will come.
there we go. So this is the point,
Yes.
right? So we know that life has its ups and
Right.
downs,
Yeah.
and there are things that we can predict, there are things that we can't.
No.
So predictability, this would be something you know you cannot control 100%.
No.
So weather, you cannot control that
Right.
100%.
Right.
Your seasons, the atmosphere, the events that happen that are out of our control.
Very true.
Now, as a human being, we can choose. You can either choose to take this situation and say, okay, I give up.
Mhm.
This is the reality of the
Yeah.
situation. I should just lay down and give up.
Mhm.
Or I could say, what is the best option I can take next? What's the best step I can take
Yeah.
after this?
So the questions that we ask ourselves
Yes.
that takes us from being victims or victimized
Yeah.
to being, you know, maybe victor rather than victim.
Exactly.
And by only switching, by asking ourselves, what do I want from this situation? I'm driving the car now, and I'm in a bumpy road, and I want to reach the destination. Complaining about the bumpy road,
It's not going to change the bumpy road, is
it's
it?
not going to change the bumpy road.
Yeah.
But we think that, you know, the more we complain about the bumpy road, we will somehow change it, or somebody will hear us somehow and try to change it. But that's not the fact, because that, you know, makes you focus on only that, and then your feeling or your emotions will be like, you know, regret, or you're upset about why is this like this,
Exactly.
and my car, and so on and so on. And then you go into that loop of negative thinking.
Yes.
And you show up at work or with your
mindset.
loved ones with that mindset. You spread negativity everywhere.
It's contagious.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So just as we have million ways that we can look at something in a positive way, we can do so very easily about negatives.
Very true.
If I were to, for example, look around me and I want to see only the negatives, I will find it.
Yes. Yes.
So this is just the brain, how it works.
Right.
I've given it a direction.
Right.
Find the negatives.
Right.
It will do so.
Yes.
Our brains listen
And
to
if
us.
we get used to it, and
will
if we
be a
repeat it, it will be habit. We only see the negative, we don't see the positive.
Exactly.
And that's not fair for life and for us, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not fair at all.
One of my favorite quotes that I really adore, it's get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And this was said by Steve Harvey, and he spoke about it in such a graphic way.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the comfort zone, and he was talking about the growth mindset in terms of when you want success, it doesn't come to you from your comfortable setting or from your comfortable moment or from your comfortable sitting. It comes when you're willing to take a step outside of it and face your fear.
Right.
But he explained fear in a very graphic manner. He said, it's like having a glass ceiling.
Yes.
And to get to the other side, to get out of your comfort zone, to reach that success, you need to break the glass. What happens when you break glass?
You injure yourself.
You cut yourself, you bleed, and you're wounded, basically.
So there's pain.
There is pain that comes with it. There's pain in failure.
Yes.
There is pain in fear.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Feeling afraid, feeling judged. This is not something pleasant.
And maybe because I'm afraid of doing or moving or taking that initiative, I would regret it later on. I say, oh, why didn't I do that?
Exactly.
And you know, and maybe we hear a lot of people, you know, on their, you know, in the end of their life, they look back and they say, like what you said earlier, when did I live my life, or I lived for people what they want me to do,
Exactly.
or how they want me to show up.
Exactly.
And that's really sad.
It is.
It is sad. I mean, you know.
To live with regret is painful.
Yeah.
So this is something I always put in front of people, like when I speak to them about this, is would you rather the pain of a small setback, a small mistake, a failure here, a failure there, something you learn from?
Falling down on the street, for example.
Pick up and get back up and try again. But would you rather that pain, or would you rather the pain 20, 50 years from now, living in regret?
Right.
Wondering, what if I took that chance?
Yes.
What if
What
I didn't let
if?
that get to me?
Right.
What if I followed what I really wanted to
Right.
pursue?
Right.
That's painful.
Of course.
But because it's not instant, people avoid it.
Right.
They say, I'm not feeling that regret right now,
Right.
but you pay the price later.
Later. Yeah. Yeah. It's really very important to look at these things and to cultivate a growth mindset and so on. There is something I read with Mary Lee Adams.
Yeah.
She talks about different mindsets.
Mm.
She talks about judger mindset and learner mindset.
Ah.
Yeah, and she said she has an illustration
Yeah.
called the choice map, where she says, moment to moment to moment, we have to choose being a learner mindset, which is almost the same as a growth mindset.
Absolutely.
Learner mindset who looks at world in a curiosity
Yes.
way, curious way.
Yes.
And for example, if they have a challenges like, for example, falling or having that bumpy road, they say, what can I learn from this? They ask themselves these questions, as you said, that triggers them to say, well, I can learn from this. Look at the learning part.
Exactly.
So they're always working and they're walking toward the sunshine and the mountain, where the judger path, it's always blaming. Why did you look at me like this? Why you treat me like this?
Victim mindset
Victimized
as well.
mindset.
Yeah.
And they stay in the pit, in the mud pit, because they are blaming and they're, why me, and why he is better, or she is better, me, I should be better, and judging themselves and judging others. Exactly. And blaming and living in that, what do you call it? Spiral. Going
downward
down.
Spiral.
Spiral.
And the problem with that as well, with that judgment mindset, right? When you are so preoccupied with judgment, when you are so preoccupied with what people say and what they're doing and what I'm doing and all of that, you're no longer focusing on your growth.
Very true. More than that, you cannot even receive, for example, insight from the creator if you're too busy and looking your mind. I mean, too busy.
Exactly.
But mind, is it in the brain or somewhere else? I mean, when they say mindset and the mind itself, I hear a lot of speakers, they speak about the mind. When they talk about the mind, they go here. But then, there are a lot of people, they're saying, no, the mind is not physical.
Yeah,
this is the brain. Mm-hmm. So what is the mind? Our mind is so sensitive, and we need to take care of it by using it in the right way, by not letting every thoughts and every idea to go in and dictate itself on us. Not any thoughts, not any words. You can control it. You have the remote control for your feeling and your emotions. And the key part of it is your mind. So you must control your mind, and you must see what's going on. Stay observer. Look at the thoughts that comes through your mind and witness it and identify it. You will see that we have a lot of thoughts that are not necessarily, and that's what makes us react sometimes, and sometimes we get angry or we get triggered for little minute stuff because we are not aware, we're not conscious.